Hey guys, and welcome to Diving into GemPool. I'm Aaron, and I'm the host of this podcast as part of GemPool Recruitment. And through this series, I want to go through different ways we can help clients, different ways we can help candidates, talk more about what GemPool can offer, as well as talk about some initiatives that we can do to help with minorities, to help with making a bigger impact on the world, and just overall have a good time while doing it as well and offer insights where we can. So I hope you enjoy this podcast. Now, today's guest is Michael Lantry, who's the CEO of GemPool. And the reason why I got him on was just to explain more about what GemPool is all about and why maybe you'd want to listen to a few more podcasts from us here at GemPool Recruitment. And then as we go along, we may have different series that talk more about startups, that talk more about niche technologies and the likes. You never know. We're definitely open to a lot of different topics within our industry. So I do hope that you enjoy this podcast. Now, I do apologize if there is any audio issues. I'm playing it back here and I'm coming across a little bit echoey, so I do apologize, but I do hope you enjoy this first podcast of diving into GemPool, and hopefully this is one of just many more, and I'm excited to get started, so hope you enjoy. So welcome, Mick. It was great to have you on.
Thanks.
A nice bit of traveling there from the third floor to the fourth floor. But it's great to have you on. So the first question I would have, and it comes back to really interesting fact about kind of recruitment and people in recruitment. They all have different perspectives of recruitment. But what's your analogy of recruitment?
I guess I see it as a little bit like a courtship, where the candidate and the company are the two parties who are going dating, and we act as the old school matchmaker, trying to find the candidate that has the right attributes and skills for the client, and then getting them together and speaking, and hopefully they get married in the end. So I guess you could see it as a courtship, and I do genuinely believe it should be a two-way courtship. You do get a lot of kind of one-sided processes where companies expect candidates to be selling themselves and not the other way around. I think people have gotten wiser to that as companies, considering the market conditions and this idea of kind of automated interviews and stuff like that. I don't agree with it. I think it's a relationship piece, and the two parties should get to know each other and flirt.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's like Tinder for companies, for recruitment. I always think of it as, another perspective would be, you don't expect things to go the way they do sometimes. So it's like supporting a team, whether it's Connacht Rugby, being from Connacht myself,
yes,
or teams like Man United, where you would expect them to win games and then they don't win, and then vice versa. You see games that you think they won't win, but they somehow pull it out of the bag, whether it's Connacht beating Leinster, Man United beating Liverpool lately. You never know what you're going to get, and that's coming from a Connacht and a Man United fan. So
right.
It's definitely good to see the different perspectives. And moving on from that, kind of, what's your journey been in recruitment? What's your journey been in matchmaking?
Yeah. Well, I like a lot of people, I kind of fell into recruitment, and I was working for a rental car company, feeling kind of, I wasn't enjoying the work that much. It was fairly full on, and at the time I was in my early 20s and really just wanted to kind of work somewhere that I could enjoy the social life aspect as well. And my now brother-in-law was working for a big recruitment company in the city centre, and kind of suggested I come along and interview. So he referred me in, and I went along to the interview. I got the job, and I worked there. And I worked on accountancy and finance, so part qualified accountants initially, and really enjoyed it. I was only there for a year before we had the '08 crash, and I was made redundant in that recession. And I kind of bounced around a bit with jobs, and ended up selling ISO standards into companies, encouraging companies to get certified or accredited and trained. And again, then another friend of mine was working in GemPool at the time, and asked me if I wanted to get back into recruitment. So I started working on a contract desk, working software engineers on a contract basis back in, it was 2012, I think. And I've been in GemPool ever since.
Oh, nice. Yeah, wow. So you got back in through GemPool straight away then
Yes.
when you came back. And, what made you want to come back? What made you resilient enough to decide, after the crash where, things weren't great to, take that step and, show one of the qualities that recruiters have, which is that resilience.
Well, I always love recruitment from the perspective of, it's quite fast paced. There's always stuff to do. It's busy. You're dealing with candidates and clients, so there's a lot of human interaction, and I believe that's been lost a bit since COVID because people are all online. But I really enjoyed that aspect of the role. One aspect, for example, I've always loved is that even as a fairly junior recruiter, you still get the opportunity to sit down with leaders of companies, of teams, be it a software engineering manager or CTO, and discuss their hiring plans, discuss their strategic objectives and how you can help with those. And that's always been very, very satisfying. I also really enjoy the buzz of making placements, making commission, and kind of buzzing off my teammates. And I've always enjoyed that. So it was a pretty easy decision to get back into recruitment and dive back into that kind of world.
And you touch on it as well in terms of the buzz you get off recruitment. And now after years, you're the CEO of a recruitment agency. How was that transition from, being a recruiter, getting that buzz off placements to then being the CEO, where you're more definitely, I would say, on the business development side of things, where you're, talking to these companies about their strategic objectives and the likes. How did you find that transition?
So I still get the buzz from going out and talking to people and meeting with companies and trying to help them, but I'm not making the placements myself. Since kind of moving into a more of a leadership capacity within GemPool, I've really enjoyed and really get a lot of motivation and purpose myself from working with my colleagues, mentoring, coaching, and leading others and seeing them flourish. My role now as CEO, I feel, exists to facilitate the success of the people within GemPool. And success for me means that everybody is achieving their own personal and professional goals. And I think they're intertwined. So if I can help facilitate that, then that gives me a lot of enjoyment, And
you touch on the personal and professional goals there as well, and we definitely all have our own, whether it's, moving on up to be a lead recruiter or, any different aspect of career progression. There's definitely a lot of different goals there, as well as making revenue. But for you personally, and as far as the company goes, what is the personal and professional goals for you as CEO of GemPool?
Well, for me professionally, I would like and have ambitions to see GemPool grow. And when we talk about why GemPool exists, as a commercial entity, yeah, sure, we're here to make money and be profitable. Otherwise, we all go home. But what is the bigger kind of purpose? And we talk about the impact that we can have. And for me, it's about being able to deliver more impact as an organization, as a team. So that means being able to help more of our clients succeed in what they're trying to do, helping more candidates find that career path, that job that really makes that difference to them, and indeed having that wider impact that we have as a business around some of the initiatives that we're involved in around sustainability, around women in tech, and being able to do that on a larger scale for me would be really exciting. So from a professional perspective, I would love to see those things achieved. And from a personal perspective as well, my personal goals revolve predominantly around my family and wanting to be a good father and be able to set an example for my kids that I think that I can be proud of, and that they really kind of learn from and become really two very good men. But I also have a lot of other personal goals that I want to achieve. Like, for example, I'm a big triathlon enthusiast. Don't take it too seriously, but I target races that I want to train for and achieve, and kind of push myself that way. So there's lots of different things, but it's good to have that kind of sense of, I suppose, direction on what we're trying to achieve as a business as well.
Definitely. And I think it's so interesting to see the contrast where professional goals can tend to align with a lot of people in a lot of different companies, and then personal goals, it's very different. I know for me personally, obviously we're at different stages. You have wife, 2 kids. I'm just in a relationship for a few months, and you talk about triathlons, and it's great to have those hobbies as well. I have rugby and karate and all those different interests as well, and I think it really helps us as recruitment consultants, and probably in a lot of different industries as well, to just be in touch with who we are ourselves rather than be a corporate robot per se. And I think coming back to the professional goals, you touch on it as well in terms of doing right by our candidates and clients and helping both parties out with their job hunt, and that aligns with the initiatives that we have as well, that in turn is attractive to clients and candidates. So for me, my next question would be, can you talk a little bit more about, or what initiatives are you talking about when you mention these initiatives that GemPool want to achieve, just for everyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, well, when we talk about impact as an organization, what does that mean actually on the ground, actions day to day? And so for us, from a sustainability perspective, we're all quite passionate in the company about wanting to make sure that GemPool is having a positive impact on our environment. So we started by going down the road of trying to achieve carbon neutrality, right? And we achieved that in July of this year, which is great. So we're certified carbon neutral now, which is cool. And we got the solar panels on the roof, and we've done a lot more around the building. But it's also about kind of the wider behaviors as a business of what we're doing. So that was the first thing. Second thing is we established our 1-for-1 initiative, which means that for every one first round interview that our candidates do with our clients, we offset 1 ton of carbon. And that's been a huge success, actually, because I think to date the number is somewhere around 200 tons of carbon has been offset since we started the initiative back in June, which equates to, I was doing the numbers on this last week, but it equates to something like 50,000 trees being planted and growing for a year. Often we are the sort of the arbiter between our candidates in the market and our clients. And there's definitely issues with the industry around, for example, gender equality. And sitting in the middle, I feel not only should we, but we have an obligation to do something about that inequality. So the stuff we're doing around women in tech, initially educating ourselves, but then going out and try to educate others and raise awareness, and all our future plans that we have for that is quite exciting, and hopefully means that we're having a meaningful impact in kind of, moving the needle a bit.
Yeah, and you really touch on that aspect of it as well in terms of making an impact, and obviously we make an impact in our jobs in general when we are helping candidates find their dream job, the job that they're happy with, their livelihood, and then the wider impact then that we can have through finding their dream job is just really exciting, I find, especially in today's world. And I think it's refreshing. Maybe that's a bit biased, but I think it's refreshing anyways to have initiatives that revolve around sustainability, that revolve around women in tech, that revolve around even how the going that extra mile to help these candidates with their job hunt, whether it's giving them more insights and the likes. And from that, I would just have question. We talk about making an impact, but GemPool in, let's say, 10 years, what do you see, or what do you think people or what do you want people to think of GemPool in 10 years? What do you want GemPool to be known for?
Well, certainly from a client perspective, I want tech companies to look at GemPool as a valued partner in their workforce management strategies and how they're able to attract the right talent when they need it, and being seen as very professional and reliable and capable in that regard. From a candidate perspective, I want them to trust us genuinely as people who care about them and want to do right by them and help them find that career. And as a business, I want us to continue to really push ourselves to deliver that experience for our candidates and clients, and that will allow us to do all those impactful things that we want to do, and do that on a bigger scale. And for GemPool now, we operate predominantly in Ireland, but there's opportunities in different geographies and in a more globalized world for us to work in different countries and do some really exciting things in other places. So for me, over the next 10 years, it's about growth and impact and improvement. So I'd love for those things to be able to say those things genuinely would be quite cool.
Yeah, and it's exciting times, and I don't see any reason why we can't, as a business, do that. And I appreciate you taking the time to come onto the podcast today, kind of, give an insight of what we want to achieve as a business. And, as I go through these podcasts, that, we're able to show the different ways in which we can help candidates, in which we can help clients, in which we can, give a little bit of insight into, what we do to help people and make an impact as you talk about. So, I really do appreciate you taking the time for this. And, it's coming to the end of the podcast, so I'm just going to ask one final question. Definitely don't judge me too much for the cheesiness of this pun, but where can the pool of gems find you?
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on, Aaron. And I think the best place is LinkedIn, right? I mean, I'm all over it. So my phone number's on there, my email, but just connect in with me, and I'm on the platform every day. So LinkedIn is probably the best place.
Yeah, same as, honestly.
Yeah.
So definitely. But no, Mick, again, appreciate it. Enjoy, and hopefully the people at home enjoyed our chat, and hopefully maybe we might have you on again soon.
Thanks, Aaron.
Perfect.
Appreciate that. Cheers.
Boom.